What up, y'all? I know not everyone feels like listening to a 40+ minute poll plans video for the month, so I broke it up to abbreviate my thoughts in a more easily digestible way. I know half of y'all, though, ain't subscribed, so go ahead and do that. Like the video, leave a comment with what you think about the upcoming content and your plans as well. And if you want to see the whole video, I'll be providing a link to that as well. Check that out for sure. Thanks a million, and now let's get into what you're really here for, alright? Bartz, baby. Probably one of the most hyped units for this month. Bartz is getting rework. His skill 1 now has splash damage and a bunch more hits, and his skill 2 is a double HP attack. Still has battery in between, but it's pretty good now, and more hits. He has his generic buffs reworked into a single framed buff. Additionally, he now has, and this is in his base kit, not his LD, this frame buff enchants him with wind, right? And it is an aura weakness damage for wind on the enemies. So it's not a debuff, but they're just weak to wind whenever Bartz's buff is active, which is pretty dope in my opinion. It's a new concept. His LD is where the fun really starts. It sets enemy brave to 0. It is not an instant break. This is an important distinction, and I get really pedantic about this, but it sets them to 0, then hits, batteries the party, double split HP AoE attack. Bartz gets an overhead too. It's got some nice little goodies. It's got a slight attack up for the party, and both overflows stolen and gained up. Party brave damage up by 20. His self, and this is important, self HP damage up 20. Own weakness damage up 40. So he's hitting a little bit harder. And he increases his own granted buffs for longer, so he's got better longevity. And he has self splash damage up, which means both of his skill 1 and his skill 2 and his EX actually. They all have splash damage, so this amps the percentage that it's up to. So it's a lot better in practice than the numbers are on paper, which is something to note. It's just good. So in practice, right, his skill 1 base deals 50% splash, but with his LD buff active, it'll now do 80% splash. And I think the same goes to his skill 2. It did 20% splash, now it's 50% splash. Very, very good. Also, obviously applies to his EX. Lastly, he refunds his own damage after his turn, so he's going to be in a decent spot. He's not going to be starting from 0 every turn, which is always nice. So Bartz is now a better than he was before Aura bot with gravity and battery for the party, and he's self-sufficient due to his Aura Imperil and Self Wind Enchant. Again, this is not party enchant, just self. Bartz also gets a new Brave attack that is gravity based and also has an HP dump that batteries the party based on HP damage dealt, next to battering based on his attack. And he gets a one-time use HP attack that sets enemy brave to 0, then breaks him the next brave hit. So that's very good, but it is one-time use, so you gotta set it up properly if you really need it. He has Unity armor, but his limit breaks on his high armor plus are selfish. So don't expect the party to be going beyond their caps if you blew him. His calls are interesting. His base call, and this is what's really annoying about people not understanding Transcendence 5 in the future, saying you need Bartz LD for it. I can't say it enough, that is completely wrong, and people still spreading that at this point are questionable. It enchants the caller with wind and gives Bartz whole Wind Imperil aura to the bosses. So they're going to be wind weak, and whoever activated the call will be able to hit wind weakness. This is on his base call, not his LD call. You can now hit weakness without having to worry about any debuffs. His LD call is pretty good too. Attack up, both overflows up, and party brave damage up. Definitely a good thing to throw on someone who's slow. Lastly, and what everyone's probably hyped the most for, his burst. His burst aura is very powerful, and the main reason it's very powerful is because Bartz is super duper slow. So you can have this effect up for a very long time. 3 stacks, so I'm just gonna go over the final stack because that's the important one. Altogether, you get M Brave up, Brave damage up, attack up, M Brave cap up, party HP damage up, party brave recovery, this is the really big one, by 50% after you do an HP attack, right? So that's almost the equivalent of a cam call on everybody. Actually, I think it's better than cam's call because I think it's 50% refund, so that might be better. But yeah, that's really good if you're like stacking bursts, for example. Oh my god, 50% refund. When we do so much HP attacks in one turn in this game, you're pretty much at full back of your turn again. Now note, I did not mention Wind Enchant, and I did not mention Brave Gain Up. You know why? Because that is behind his Burst Plus, which is way down the line, and probably why he's getting a lot of hype. Bartz does not enchant the party until down the line, and he doesn't give Brave Gain Up either. So people thinking he does that now are in the wrong, all right? Regardless, this aura is very, very good. You can theoretically and probably, if your DPS is good enough on your team, you can burst with Bartz at around 50% and let your LD damage dealers go to town and not see the end of this burst effect until near the end. It's actually pretty hilarious. Just imagine like you got Bartz in your team, you burst, you got Garland friend in, and then you let Tifa just take all the turns and you delete the bosses in like 3 seconds. It's kind of crazy. Now that I've clarified how Bartz works, let me give my opinion on him. I honestly think you're better off going for 9 if you don't plan on grabbing Bartz's burst. Without his burst, Bartz is average at best, and he doesn't enchant the party. He's just an aura bot, a basic one at that, with some utility and gravity and battery and slight brave damage up. So while he can do his job, I don't think it's really worth it going for him if you're not going for his burst, personally. Much better off with 9. And if you're gonna say pull Fujin to go with Bartz so you can have him enchant, I think that's a horrible idea, and you're better off spending your gems on Bartz's burst, which is guaranteed to age like fine wine in the future, rather than Fujin, who kind of ages like ass. If you didn't hear me talk about Fujin and you're watching the clip or you just skipped to this part, listen. It's way more practical to just bring a real enchanter rather than pulling Bartz and Fujin each to have the enchant effect and get around Imperial immunity, which is such a rarity, alright? And we know how well Bartz burst ages, so you're much better off going for it. We have Tifa's banner, and Tifa is broken to hell and back. You're much better off going to burst pity potentially on that Tifa LD banner rather than pulling Fujin. And this is my overview and my thoughts on Bartz, but I'm trashing Fujin again. Can you tell how much I'm disappointed with her? But yes, if Bartz didn't have a burst, he'd just be okay. But with that burst, he escalates to stupid levels now and in the future. So again, if you don't have plans to get Bart's burst, I don't think that going for him is necessarily the greatest idea when we have people who can help you out much more, like 9. That being said, if you do go for his burst, this dude is utterly broken for a while. I think people are hyping him, not understanding the nuance between burstless Bartz and burst Bartz, but caution ahead, please. I talked to some of my buddies who don't have Bartz's burst, and they said they kind of felt no real use for him like immediately after Synergy, because there were just better options. But those who did have his burst ran him into the ground, like me, all right? So trust me when I say this. If you're not going for his burst, probably not a great idea, all right? Penelo's on the banner too. She's getting her high armor plus. Okay, she's dated. If you really want Penelo, I guess you can go in for any other banner, but Bartz is the real star here. I'm gonna pull his LD because I want to get his burst on Tifa's banner, and I need the full kit. Pretty straightforward. Obviously, not going for Penelo. I already got her. If I get his burst here, that'd be great. Otherwise, I will go to Burst Pity on the Tifa banner. Pretty cut and dry. That Tifa banner is probably one of the best banners of all time in this game. I will get his high armor, and I will leave it at base because all those limit breaks are selfish. And Bartz doesn't be doing that much brave damage. Real weird distribution they got for him. I don't know. The Lufenia is the Karen Bears, and they are Imperial immune. Guess who they're selling? I think they're immune to their own debuff and poison, so sorry, Sarah. It's one less debuff you can apply, whatever. They also can't be launched, and they can't be delayed, which sucks, I guess, but the wind is pretty simple to satisfy. It's just deal wind damage, not wind weakness damage, just wind damage, which Bartz kind of makes cake. Thankfully, we have other wind characters. Vaughn, Fujin, doesn't even need her LD to be effective here. Toto, I guess, Ferris recently. So there's a couple options to hit wind here. And again, Bart's call can probably satisfy the orb if you really need to, really badly. Bart's friend will probably make cake too if you need a clutch wind attack, I guess. But yeah, it is what it is. They got modes where they gain a lot of brave, just like Kieran's Lost Chapter. But Bart's can just kind of cut them down. If you got Kadash, you can pop them too. Sephiroth, there's a bunch of options here. This fight isn't too bad, honestly. They're also melee and range weak to make up for the lack of Imperial, I guess. So it's kind of hard to not hit weakness unless you're using magic units. But yeah, this fight ain't too bad. A nice break from the horrible fights that were in the beginning of this month, honestly. Imperial immune kind of hurts Golbez right after his synergy, but other than that, you know, just probably use whoever, you know. Who am I gonna use? Probably gonna use Bartz and someone else. I don't know. Maybe Bartz 9 and some kind of damage dealer. Maybe I'll run Jack or something. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Bartz comes back with his burst plus alongside Ferris's LD. and this is during Ace's burst cycle in JP, along with Transcendence 5, and next to the stage that was hyped for requiring him, but was found to not be the case within about 5 minutes of actually trying the stage. Although misinfo is rampant about this stage, and I'm gonna keep complaining about it till it stops because it's dumb. But yeah, Bartz is down the line there, so if you want to wait to grab him there, and his burst is on the banner too, alongside his LD and Ferris, so that's an option. Do what you must, and that's it. Hope y'all enjoyed the clip and found it informative. I do try my best, generally. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, comment what you think and your plans, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great content. The full video is linked, so check that out as well. Continue showing love. Good luck, everybody. Peace.